Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Terrestrial Material, where we talk about the material us terrestrials are interested in. This is episode 19, if you can believe it. And this is our year-end wrap-up, kind of holiday episode. It's going to be fast and loose, as they say. What's going on, French? We're jumping right over to the team panel right away.
Not much, just getting ready for the holidays.
Yeah. I mean, dude, can you even believe that it's already here?
Not really. It's kind of crazy. Like the last 3-4 months, those have been like the fastest for me. It seems like I don't know why, but
Yeah. Yeah, it just feels like yesterday we were in Petoskey in October. Like, it's really crazy. It was just the other day when I was driving home, I was like, damn, dude, it's the 21st or 22nd. Christmas is already coming. It's just like, I don't understand where the time goes. I guess we've been busy, though. So I guess, the show really does that.
well, it's also weird because there's no snow. Normally there's snow by now.
Like, there's snow above us right now. What do you mean? It's snowing right on the channel.
Well, I mean, you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, we got to make snow somehow. I mean, it was raining this morning
Last
for me.
night, yeah, same.
Yeah, which was weird to walk outside. Which, can we get the elephant out of the room here? It's 11 in the morning, and we're doing a podcast today. Whose idea was this, huh?
Last one of the year. Run it. We do what we want.
Yeah, I want to get a feel for it, dude, to kind of go a little bit earlier. Plus, I want to play trials tonight, so I got to be able to get some of the stuff going out of the way and get the holiday started at that point. Yeah, so what would you give if we were going to do a 1-bite score? One bite, everybody knows the rules, even though you probably can't get a very good bite out of ufology this year with 1 bite. But Dave Portnoy rules. What's the score? What do you give ufology in 2023?
I'm gonna say. I'll say 5.2.
5.2.
Solid 5.2.
Wow. And what are you basing that score off of, man? I mean, are you looking at just overall, like, actual evidence, like the hype of it, where we got? I mean, what are you really thinking about when you're mulling that over?
Definitely evidence, and then kind of like overall involvement and hype with everything. And if you know the rules of 1 bite, like it's impossible to get like a perfect score, right? Let's just be realistic.
Yeah.
And then given these circumstances of everything that's been going on with ufology this year, I mean, a little bit over 5. It's not that bad. I mean, you think about it.
No, you said 5.2 or 5.5?
5.2.
Yeah, 5.2. Okay, that's what I thought. I just want to make sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably a pretty balanced approach. When you look at the score,
I think there's room to grow from there.
There's definitely room to grow. There's room to fall, unfortunately, too.
But
we could be looking at 2024 and being, holy shit, 5.2 was nice. We could be looking at a 2.1. You never know.
What about you?
Yeah, for me, there's so many factors that you have to take in, right? Yes, we didn't really get the evidence that we wanted. We didn't get any hard evidence. We got a lot of testimony. We got Congress and Senate, working at trying to get something done with it. Tim Burchett comes out, so we get that kind of support. David Grush talks a lot. There's so many things that I think are positives net at the end of the day, but I would probably give it a 7.5. Which might be, and that's a pretty solid score. And coming and coming from me, that's probably surprising, but 7.5. I think that they've opened up a few avenues for ufology to go down that could be helpful next year. So I don't want to poo-poo the whole thing. And then,
Right.
getting any kind of whistleblowers, I guess they're not really whistleblowers, but like getting anyone to come out from the government and talk about it is helpful. I don't know. I've changed my mind on Grush so many times this year. Just my thoughts in general on ufology have changed so much. So it's hard to put, anything lower than a 7.5 for me, but I definitely don't want to go into the 8s. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, that's like what I said earlier. It's like, it's if you get too high, it becomes a little bit unrealistic. But I mean, what, 12.7 overall between both of us?
Dude,
Not bad.
Stephen Bassett gives it a 50 out of 10 every time. He's
Yeah,
so
we need
damn
more like
positive.
him.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he's a nice guy, bro. I really enjoy talking to him. But um, best moment of the year for you. I mean, and there's a lot of moments. What really stood out to you? Were like, wow, that's crazy.
Honestly, I think the Peru aliens incident and like them going and doing the investigations, and then also like we talked about during that episode was like the humanitarian side of it and helping all those villagers and people out and everything. I don't know, that's just like one that stuck out in my head the most, and I think you can tell also based off like previous episodes, like that's probably the most interested I was in one of those events and stuff. So
Why? I mean, why is that? I mean, is it just that the kind of woo side of it is what draws you in more than maybe even the nuts and bolts does nowadays?
I think it's a little bit of that. I think it's also like because um there were other things brought to light that I didn't really think about either. You know, like when the fisherman dude was talking about when he looked up at like the spacecraft that he saw and it was like
Yeah,
netting and stuff like that. See through. I've never
yeah,
heard anybody like describe it like that. I was like,
true.
oh, it's getting crazier and crazier.
They've
Like I don't
got
know,
some
it's just all it
stories.
was just yeah, it was just all interesting to me. It
Yeah,
was cool.
without a doubt. Yeah, that's cool. I didn't think you'd say that. Um,
What'd you think I was gonna say?
I kind of figured you would have said the hearings. I think a lot of people this year would say that the original hearings with Grush, Fravor, and Graves was probably the biggest wow moment. Mainly because, like, I think a lot of people never thought that that would happen, that we would actually get a congressional situation set up like that. That was probably it for me. Um, getting anything? Well, no, I don't. Let me take that back. Let me take that back. I think the biggest wow moment was just how cut up the NDAA Schumer Amendment Act became. Like just how bad they neutered that thing. And then we kind
Yeah,
of got
this is a
stuck with
good
the
one.
20 right. And we kind of got stuck with the 25-year expiration date, which is not really an expiration date, but we'll just play along and say that it is. That's probably what shocked me the most. Even though I didn't know if it would go through, I still hoped that it would, you know. So it was
Yeah.
a real downer for me.
Yeah, I think the hearings and that bill, I think that's probably most people's pick.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy to see where things have come. I mean, there's so much this year, dude. I mean, honestly, like it isn't easy to pick that either one of our
No, not at
choices.
all.
No, I mean you had Mexico with the mummies with Jaime Maussan,
Yeah.
the cake mummies.
The paper mache mummies.
Yeah, the paper mache. I mean, you had obviously Tim Burchett was all over the news, and you get interesting stuff from him. I mean, Tucker Carlson has now jumped on board this year, and that's an interesting one. No, it's like he comes over to Twitter, he leaves Fox News, starts doing his own thing, and now he's really getting loose about the aliens, dude.
That's what I was gonna say. I think that's kind of the most like out in left field thing that's kind of come forward because you wouldn't expect it. Like there's other people you
Yeah.
would expect, but Tucker Carlson to kind of like jump over and then kind of get on board with it. It's like, all right, well, stuff's changing, I guess. I mean,
Yeah, I mean that clip of him on Tim Pool, man. It's not even like that he's just kind of entertaining the idea of talking about it. He's like
in it.
getting into it. Yeah, he's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's they've been here a long time, and this is spiritual or demonic. It is crazy to hear him say that because some people think, bro, that he's gonna run for vice president. That he would be a good vice president, and it's like, wow, that's interesting too. You have prior to the election a potential candidate talking about this and not even having it really affect his campaign. I don't think it really would. What do you think?
I don't think so. If it did, it would probably have to be something like pretty scandalous. I mean, everybody knows who he is. I mean, he's CNN and everything. There's a lot of people that watch him
Fox News,
and
yeah.
or Fox News, my bad. Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay.
Um there's a
They're
lot
all
of people
liars, man. So what do
that
you
right.
it's hard
There's
to tell
tons
them
of people
apart.
that watch him like and just obviously study him and try to dig up dirt on him, I'm sure in the past and history and stuff like that cuz I mean, he's a pretty important like spokesperson for a lot of people politically that want to get their dose and stuff. So I also wonder what it was for him that made him want to make the jump. Because
Yeah.
it's not like he like you said, like he's in it, right? So it's not like he dipped his toes in and we got like our first glance of that. And no, he's just like, yep, this is it. I'm doing it. I'm making the push. I'm making the move.
Yeah,
So I
and
wonder what it was for him.
I wonder too. I mean, he interviewed Grush, right? So I mean, I'm sure the behind the scenes conversation that they had was probably pretty interesting. I don't know if we'll ever get to hear any of that or get any real truth. I mean, he doesn't want Tucker doesn't even want to talk about who told him, but I think we can kind of put two and two together and figure out that it's got to be Grush and hell, even Alex Jones. I mean, he interviewed Alex Jones. Alex Jones talked about aliens a ton of times with Rogan in the past, and they're in there, they're shutting their hearts off, and they're talking to the aliens.
Right. Well, that's what I was gonna bring up. It's like if it was Alex Jones and I was Tucker Carlson, like I don't think like he would be like the best candidate to like make me go and like do that push, because Jones can come off a little.
Oh, a little,
so,
huh?
so I would say it probably was Grush, or it's somebody else that we don't even know. Could have been one of his friends or something. Maybe it's something he's been interested in for past years, but couldn't really talk about it because Fox News isn't all about covering anomalies and UFOs and stuff.
Yeah, none of the mainstream media is. I mean, they were
Mm-mm.
for a minute. Maybe you could even say like a year or two, ever since like the New York Times stuff. But this whole last year, man, they've kind of turned the corner a little bit near. Well, I guess not whole last year, but the end of the year. It feels like they've turned the corner again to where they're talking, X-Files music, and they're kind of laughing about the whole thing again, and it's just not as serious. Now, can you blame them? We're not getting any real proof at this point. So I'm not willing to just, bitch at him yet. I mean, I understand the
Right.
situation, but that's when you have someone like Tucker, that to me is a big mainstream move. You know what I mean? When we're talking about mainstream, I know Ali last night was saying he's not really media. He's just kind of like a commentator now. And that's true. But I still think people view him as like a mainstream news media guy. And if he can get his thoughts out there, if he can get anything moving with the conversation, it's going to be a big deal. I mean, look at what Twitter's doing, French. They had Alex Jones in there with, I think Tucker was even in on that. And then you get Elon Musk. Dude, that's pretty fucking mainstream if you ask me, right?
It's a lot of big names, yeah. Stirring some buzz and stuff. Which,
yeah.
like you said, though, I think it's a good step. Because I would agree that, yeah, he's probably more, mass media. I wouldn't really say mainstream, but, like you said, it's just the type of person he is, the spokesperson.
Yeah, I guess I mean by mainstream, I just mean like people know him. Like if you walk down the street and ask somebody, "Hey, who's David Grush or who's Tucker Carlson?" They've probably heard of Tucker like 10 times over more than Grush, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I ask somebody now who's David Grush and Tucker Carlson. They'll be like, "Oh, David Grush is the guy who was with Tucker Carlson."
Yes, yeah, now, yeah. I guess I get what I mean is like
Which is a
prior
good
to
point.
that. Yeah, it's a good
Yeah.
point. Yeah. Maybe it's different now. I don't know. That was just a big step to me. I just feel like we haven't heard someone like in his position say the things that he's saying on top of it. I mean, the guy's, like I said before, he's talking about spirituality and they've always been here, and he doesn't even want to know the whole story. He won't tell his wife. You won't tell your wife? I mean, what could he possibly think is going on that you'd be afraid to tell your wife that?
I don't know. It's a good question.
I mean, yeah, I mean, what? Hey, honey, angels and demons are real, and good luck. I mean, I don't know. I
It's not
still
gonna
don't.
really make a big difference, right? Like,
Right.
it's not gonna change anything for her or your family or anything.
That was Bigelow's line in Goofon's intro. Yeah, they're walking among us. It's not going to change anything. It's not going to matter. I love that line so much, man. It's so funny. Yeah, I mean, it is probably not going to shake the world depending on what it is, but I don't know. I still think.
That's a
Oh,
good
go ahead.
start.
Yeah, it's definitely a start. But has your view this year in general with ufology changed at all? I mean, and that could go across many different lines, like just your view of what the phenomena is, what we could get for truth, what the government's position is, any of those things. Has it changed at all?
Yeah, I would say it's changed. I'd say quite a bit actually, because when we first started this podcast, I was just getting back into it. So that's exciting, right? For me, I'm like, cool. Do all this research, everything, read a bunch of stuff, learn, and then, then we started having guests on the show. And then I started learning more from those people and everything. And then other stuff was going on, the hearings, the bill, Grush, and then kind of like declined a little bit, And I was like, okay. And then that's when I started to like really think more about like the woo side of it and like spirituality and stuff like that, and like all the consciousness and stuff. And then that was kind of like piqued my interest again. And so I think it's only stepped down just a little bit from there, and I think that's where I am right now. Um I don't know. It's still very interesting because I want to see what's going to happen here, after the year and everything is up.
Yeah, I mean, when you got back, kind of rolling with all this again, the idea of what the phenomena could be, whether that's aliens, interdimensional beings, whatever, what have you, was there a point in time this year where that really switched up? Like you read something or you heard something, you said, there could be more here than what I'm thinking.
Mm, Not really switched up, but like focused more. Um, Having Grant Cameron on was a big one for me because he kind of like put into a lot of words like what I was thinking and like more focused on at that point in time.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good switching point. And then I'd say that's pretty much it. As far as like what I used to think like the phenomenon was and everything, like it was all pretty level fielded, you know, like where I think they came from, stuff like that, different galaxies, whatever.
Yeah, the
They've been
typical
here,
ufologist line in the
whatever.
sand of, or, line you
Yeah.
walk down. Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Yeah. And
just from
like,
some other
they come
planet.
from the water and stuff like that,
Right.
So I think it's like those aren't like discluded, like they're all like still there. There's just more of them,
Yeah.
rather than like a couple of like thoughts of what I thought it was. Now there's just like a bunch of thoughts, which is
Yeah.
cool. And hopefully it kind of stays like that or becomes more like pinpointed, right? Because that's the whole point of all this. So,
Yeah, narrowing it down for
yeah.
sure. Trying to get to the head is that's all what I'm doing this whole entire time. If I can talk, it's early, guys. Give me a break.
Right.
I got a headache. I'm not gonna lie to you. So if I stumble a little bit, catch me if I fall. Yeah. So I agree, man. I think that your scope just widens so much the more and more that you look into this topic. And the more and more you go into it, you realize how many more options there really are. I'm much like you in the past, and this year AI for me was the big widening of the scope of what's really possible. Seeing just how far they're getting with AI, with the physics, it's learning its our physics on its own, and where can that really lead? Is it going to create anti-gravity for, or not create it, but is it going to crack anti-gravity for us? And if it does do that, how far into the future do they have these machines that are coming back? Or is it something spiritual? Is there some kind of religious side to it? Because we see people talk about, light beings and orbs and all this kind of
Yeah, oh,
stuff
yeah.
that's out there. And what makes you really kind of consider the spiritual side even more is kind of what we talked about before with Tucker. More and more people are saying this, that it's more than nuts and bolts. Grant Cameron is like the man on listening to talk about that. He himself said, if you want to get to the truth of this, hell with the nuts and bolts. Stop looking for the government. You're gonna have to go into consciousness and understand that. So if you're gonna try to take in every side of this thing, which I think you need to get out of that echo chamber to find the truth, you are left with so many more questions than where you started. And
Hmm.
I think this year really opened up a lot more questions for everybody. So my mind has changed. it's just wide into a lot more possibilities.
Yeah. And I think that also depends on like the type of person you are too. Cause I mean, if you're somebody that doesn't care to like look at every possible angle and stuff like that, given how much research is more available to you now to try to broaden your horizons, I mean, you probably won't broaden your horizons. Um, you'll just kind of stick with what you want to know. But then there's other people, like us, they're just like, yep, cool. Let's just keep opening it up.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been scared yet by anything I've heard. You know what I mean? I haven't. There hasn't been a scenario yet that really shakes me and thinks, oh, that's really scary. That would affect my life. Have you had anything like that? I mean, it's more than possible that you have.
Not really. As much as we like actually break down scenarios on this podcast of like what could go wrong, including the AI thing. I think the AI one is probably the closest to where somebody would start to get freaked out if they really thought about it and like what could go wrong. But I haven't really had anything that kind of shook me up.
Yeah, even the Peru alien stuff this year. I mean, the face ripping and stuff like that. Like, it's uncomfortable, I guess.
It's
But
wild, yeah.
yeah, I guess if there was more proof that there was actually, something like that going on for sure, and it had something to do with the phenomenon, maybe I'd be like, don't come rip my face off, But
Yeah, I think if
I
I
don't
was
know.
standing there and seeing it happen, yeah, then that's a different story.
Do you think we're just desensitized to a lot of it at this point? I mean, I do. I think that over the years, I've read so many things. I mean, invisible things that can just come get you, and if that was the process, and they come to you in your dreams because now you're in their world. Dude, I've heard so much stuff. I just need to like have some proof there to, I guess, scare me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I would say I'm probably pretty desensitized. Excuse me. And I think to most things anyways. I mean, if you want to go into like aliens and stuff like that and consciousness and they're in your dreams and stuff, I have sleep paralysis. So to a lot of people, that freaks a lot of people out.
Yeah.
And like me, it used to, and now I'm just like I can feel when it's gonna happen, and because I know when it's gonna happen, and I just like I turn to my doorway, I lay on that side, and I'm like, okay, and then I just let it happen because I still like it still kind of like makes me feel weird because like if something did happen or like if somebody came in because my mind just thinks about wild stuff like that, I'm like I want to be able to like be as close to prepared as I possibly can rather than my back turned to where like these
Oh,
shadow
I
demons are
know.
gonna scoop me out of my bed and take me.
Yeah.
But I think that's as far as like it goes for like being a little bit shook up.
Yeah, I can understand that. I mean, like we kind of mentioned earlier, like Alex Jones being back on Twitter, we were talking about last week too. I mean, that's pretty interesting. I'm wondering if he's going to start getting involved even more in this UFO talk, on places like that. I mean, do you foresee him kind of delving deep into that side a little bit more?
Kind of, but I feel like he's just gonna freak a lot of more people out. Like, I mean, the dude says some like very wild stuff. Like, if there's one person that could instill mass fear, he could do it. I
Yeah.
think he
Oh,
could
for
do it.
sure. Yeah, he's got the
so,
power.
so it's like you gotta kind of watch out and gotta kind of filter what you can and cannot watch with him if you're somebody that is susceptible to being like easily freaked out. But yeah, I think he's gonna dive more into stuff like that, and no, hopefully we'll see where it goes.
Yeah. John Stokes in the chat. He says happy Christmas to both of you. Merry Christmas, John.
Merry
We
Christmas,
appreciate you,
man.
bro. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us this early in the morning here. We're doing
Right? I know it's weird.
we're hope you brought your coffee with you, Oh God, we plugged a Big B, but that wait, they're
Sponsored,
only in the US.
right?
Dude,
Get a
I would
double
love
double from Hortons.
I'd love a Big B sponsorship. Wouldn't that be great? Get a little Big B. Look
I'd
at
never
get some of
sleep.
that Big B money.
I'd never sleep, bro. I wouldn't even want the money. I'd be like, give me the coffee.
Yeah, yeah. No, it probably was a caffeine rush for me that's got my head all screwy today. But yeah. Happy Christmas to you as well, bro. I always see. I'm gonna be honest with you. I like the happy
Christmas,
Christmas even more than Merry, but I'm not British, so I can't. I feel like I can't say it. You know what I mean? I know you're yeah. Well, trust me, John. The UK, you saying happy, that let me know right where you were. So
Right, 100%.
I'd like to say it, dude. I always say it in the movie with Harry Potter when he says "Happy Christmas, Harry," "Happy Christmas, Ron." I love that, dude.
You text me like every year, like "Happy Christmas, Ron."
There's so much like
Uh,
UK slang that it's so good, man.
I
It
love
really
it.
is excellent.
Australian slang.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Tony, good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you, Tony. Yeah, we're this show is pretty informal today. We're just kind of wrapping up the year. We're talking to chat. It's pretty opened up. Yeah,
What
yeah,
was I gonna say?
yeah, for sure. Well, how
Oh,
about? Oh, go ahead. Yeah,
uh, this is back to like the happy and Merry Christmas thing.
yeah.
So like people are saying like happy holidays a bunch more now and everything. And I
I
think it's
know.
like it's more that like wokeism stuff like going on. And I was getting lunch the other day and I was walking out and Ricky was in the store with me and the dude behind the counter goes, happy holidays. And Ricky's like, no, that Merry Christmas and walked out, bro. And everybody in that store was like, this dude's crazy. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah,
I was like, just let it go.
right. Well, I had a moment of that too, where I was walking out of Meyer and I had my AirPods in, and I'm just cranking music, right? I'm about to turn right to walk right out of the front doors. And there's a woman in front of me who's also going to be turning left, though, because she's going to walk through the door. She lets me go first. Okay. Kind of like right side of the road, left side of the road thing.
Yeah.
And she says something to me, but I've got like moth to flames just blaring in my ears. Like this lady she's looking at me. She has no idea I'm just listening to this crazy metal music right now.
Right.
But I mute it and I look back at her and I was like, what? And she goes, oh yeah, usually you always yield to the right and everything when you're coming from the left. And I was like, yeah, sorry, I got these AirPods in and I'm blaring music, so I couldn't hear you. And she's like, oh yeah, I get it. And I said, but you too, you could, if you put them in, you'd be interested in them too, wearing them and stuff like that. Because she was an older lady and she wasn't wearing any, and she goes, oh yeah, maybe. She goes, Merry Christmas, and I go, yeah, Merry Christmas. But I'll tell you what, how much people in the U.S. nowadays say Happy Holidays, it actually surprised me that she said Merry Christmas. It stunned me for a minute.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, wait, I can say it back to you because you said it first.
Right.
On our channel, I'm going to put Merry Christmas on there, man. That's my channel, If you're offended, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, but it's just a holiday.
Right.
But yeah, dude, if somebody says Merry Christmas to you in public now, scare the shit out of you.
Yeah, it's surprising now. Yep. Yeah, and then you got people like Ricky that just scream and yell. I'm like, oh man.
Yeah, without a doubt. So when we look at wrapping up this year, let's talk a little bit about next year, because I think we've kind of covered. I mean, we could sit here for another half hour and just rehash every single event, but I don't really want to do that. That's not really very fun for anybody. We've done enough on it. Oh, I see Nick in the chat. What's going on, Nixie? Merry Christmas, guys, and thanks for the great content over the past year, and looking forward to the New Year's shows. Ah, man, dude. So thankful, Nick, for you, brother. Damn, that's a nice thing to read in your chat.
It really is,
God, that makes me a little warm and mushy inside. So, yeah, no, I appreciate it. We look forward to more of you, Nick, without a doubt. Nick, that's the Nick Cosmic Twilight, I believe, correct? Because you're not on your Cosmic Twilight account though, right? If you could clear that up for me, I think that's Nick.
Nick C.
Yeah, I don't know Nick's last name.
I don't either.
And I expected to see the image for Cosmic Twilight. He's gonna type, "Yeah, it's me, you idiot." He's gonna type that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's probably my fault. It might not be though. I don't know. Wait, do I know Nick's? Actually, I think I have Nick's last name from an email, so I wouldn't say it here, obviously, but yeah. If you're not Nick from the Cosmic Twilight, either way, we'd love to see you.
Yeah,
without a doubt. But do you see 20? No, God, now I feel stupid. We're just gonna pretend, that you're famous as well. You're famous here. You're a terrestrial like
just
us.
For that comment, yeah, just for that comment.
That comment. I'll tell you right now, with that not being the Nick that I think it is, and just being another person's that nice of a comment, dude, that's wildly appreciated. That's incredible. So, yeah, Merry Christmas for sure. Does 2024, French, does it keep up the pace that we've been at right now, or is ufology going to kind of move over to like a slow simmer next year?
That's a
What
good
do you
question.
feel?
I feel like it's gonna pick up, honestly. And I know normally, like I always say, like, nah, I feel like it's gonna slow down or it's gonna be bad, or I don't know. I just have a feeling it's gonna start picking up, and I think it's because people are gonna start jumping around to different platforms and stuff. And I do think that like Tucker Carlson and the interviews and stuff like that he's been doing, I think it's going to bring a lot of attention from a lot of people that do watch him. They might be more comfortable to finally start like talking about and stuff, get interested. um I don't want to speak from a government standpoint because that'll just ruin everything that I just said, so I'm just going to leave it at that.
Without a doubt. Oh, then there's the real Nick Cosmo Twilight we were talking about. Merry Christmas.
Merry
Hey,
Christmas,
hey,
Nick.
Merry. You know what? He's in the UK.
Happy Christmas.
Happy Christmas, Cosmic. Happy Christmas.
Yep.
And Cosmic Twilight's a really, really cool channel. And his link is in the description. There's a lot of links, so we're gonna go over that nearing the end of the show at this point. But yeah, happy Christmas, Nick. Good to see you, brother. Thank you for coming and spending some time with us here. Yeah, I agree, man. I think it'll start to kind of pick up more. I mean, we're gonna get Elizondo's book next year, which is gonna be a big deal. Like, people are gonna make content on that for 3 or 4 months at least. I mean, you could do an episode on every chapter, and people will probably do it just to make the content.
No, you just blew our idea.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I hope it does. I know that there's supposed to be another congressional hearing that's coming. We'll see where that goes. Maybe more whistleblowers, actual whistleblowers will come out. I mean, there's supposedly what, 40 or 80? It's crazy. It's hard to keep track of how many now there are. There's
I don't count all those because it's just, you have to be a real one, right?
Yeah. No behind the scenes.
No.
Yeah. No, I get it. Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see. Maybe, that kind of harkens back to what we were talking about earlier. Maybe that's who Tucker's talking to. Maybe he's getting a little bit more conversation. Well, there's an idea. Does Tucker Carlson start kind of parading some of these whistleblowers, quote unquote, onto his platform? If they look at it and say, hey, Congress isn't going to talk to us, we want more disclosure. Do you think that's a sufficient platform? Like, Twitter could be a place. I mean, Twitter's free right now, man. You can do whatever. Right. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think so. I think enough people look at him as a pretty important figure. I think it's a good idea to a lot of people go to a different platform and, I don't know, trust, right?
Yeah.
You watch somebody long enough on whatever platform and stuff like that, whether you've met them in person, you start to develop your own trusts and opinions for them. So
yeah, so he's going to lean into it. He might lean in, and if he does that, for sure, I mean, there could be a lot more of the topic. I'll restate my prediction for next year. I think either January, and it might be January, but it could be February. January or February, Elizondo is going to show up on News Nation with that book. That's where I think he's going to start his book tour, is right there. Ollie was talking about him last night going on Rogan, which is possible, I guess. But the hard sell with me with Elizondo going on Rogan, French, is that he just hasn't went yet. And Corbell is friends with Elizondo. They're all in that same crew. And I'm sure that Corbell has brought up Elizondo to Rogan before, and Rogan's kind of ignored it. So I don't really know what's going to change his mind, rather than he just wants to do like Jeremy a favor and have Elizondo on, or, he's going to have to spark his interest. What do you think?
It could be like a promotion thing. And that would be like strictly it if he did end up going on Rogan's podcast.
Yeah, Rogan's kind of like this guy, though, where I don't know if you could throw him a bag of money just to go on. Like, I think he always has people he's interested in. That's it.
Yeah, that's one of the big things with him. Because he doesn't care, right? He's going to do what he wants on his podcast.
Oh, yeah. I think 100 million reasons in his bank account are good enough reasons for he's going to do whatever he wants to do. You know what I mean? So, yeah, nobody's telling Rogan shit. I mean,
I can't really see the benefit of Elizondo going on Rogan's podcast, though, either, in all honesty.
The book. He can promote the book. That'd be huge.
Well, I mean, to him. I mean, like
Oh,
for
oh,
everybody
oh.
else. Sorry, yeah.
Right, right,
Like as
right.
a whole, for everybody else within, the topic of like ufology and stuff.
If Biden does, what happens? Tony says. If Biden goes on Rogan, Tony, I don't know.
Mhm.
Would you? I don't think he would go on there, right?
Would Rogan want Biden on his
Oh, I think he
podcast?
would. I think he would take him for sure, but I just don't think Biden would want to do that. See, here's the thing about Rogan's podcast, and this is the God's honest truth. His format is a truth bringer. It's truth serum. You cannot sit and act for 3.5 hours straight. People are going to see you. They are going to know who you are at the very end of that podcast. And that's, I think, the most scary thing. That was what was interesting for me about Grush going on there, was I was like, oh wow, he can't run anymore. There's no cuts in this interview. There's no, Jesse Michaels jumping in the middle and telling us about ufology and all this kind of bullshit. We're gonna know who he is. That's why
That's a
you couldn't
very
have.
good point.
Yeah, you couldn't have Biden go on there. Biden can't talk for 30 seconds, let alone 3 hours. And Jeff Garvey, happy holidays to you as well, man. Appreciate you. Ice
Yep,
cream should be the
happy
Grinch.
holidays.
I'm the Grinch. Yeah, I'm a mean
Yeah, well,
one.
he was supposed to have a Santa hat too. He twisted my arm and made me get one, and then he goes, "Yeah, I don't have one."
Okay, let's. You know what? You want to bring it up? We'll bring it up. Okay, so the Santa hat situation. I texted French, I don't know, maybe a week and a half ago, and I said, "Hey, buy a Santa hat for the Christmas show." And then he never texted back, so I didn't know if he really did or if he missed the text. And then honestly, when time came around because of that, I just kind of forgot. So I was just like, okay, let it go. No Santa hat. So then I dressed the stream up, as you guys can see. We got snow. We got the evil Santa Claus down here, and he's chasing the little gray alien over there. I don't know where to point.
I love that.
Yeah. So we dressed this whole damn thing up, and then he gets behind the scenes and he's got the hat on. And he's like, "Oh, okay, yeah. Where's your Santa hat?" And I'm like, "I have a damn Santa hat, but." It'd be funny. Yeah, I mean, dude, I could have painted the face and everything. We could have went full costume, but I didn't know how it was all going to play out. So we just kind of rolled with it. But yeah, I am disappointed. I thought we thought about delaying the podcast for like an hour and let me go to the store and go buy one. I would have done that.
We did.
but I already posted on Twitter when we were going. I reposted it again an hour before, and I was like, I don't want to push it. It's probably not worth that much, but play good guy, bad guy. Dude, it's the bad guys here. Bad guys leaving.
No, I'd be the dog if you were the Grinch.
You be the dog?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. We got the bad guy. We got the evil Santa down there. He's trying to catch that gray alien. That gray alien's looking and waving like, hey, I'm just a good guy. What do you want from me?
I did say though, it's not like this is a dollar store hat, because believe it or not, 2-3 days before Christmas, it's impossible to find a Santa hat at any store. So I bought this cheap dollar store one, and it's like super thin, and like that's why I was like, it reminds me of like Tinkle from the Wind Waker.
So wait, so you can actually adjust that damn thing?
It's like stiff, like it's been just heavily starched.
Dude, that's an anti-gravity hat, bro. It just hangs up there. You figured it out.
Absolutely.
You got the 115 generator in the back of that hat. It's just holding it up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's good stuff.
I thought your sister would have one, man. I swear to God, I've seen her wear one to work before, and that's why I called her. I'm like, do you have one? She's like, no, they're all at my dad's, and I'm like, oh, okay, great. So, yeah, we are hatless. Gotta watch football.
Tony, enjoy some footy.
Yeah, enjoy the footy, mate. Enjoy the footy, mate.
Yeah, thanks for stopping in.
Yeah, thanks for stopping in. But what were we talking about before we went off in this crazy tangent?
Well, Tony, with Biden going in on
yeah, that's right.
Rogan.
That's right, with Rogan.
Yeah,
I mean, Elizondo could go on there, but to be honest with you, I see Tom DeLonge going back on Rogan before I see Elizondo going on Rogan for the first time.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, I think that at some point, Tom DeLonge is going to want a little bit more public redemption in his eyes, redemption, because you see the Tom was right t-shirts all over Twitter and all over the internet. And Rogan was not so nice to him in a lot of ways, like right to his face with Jamie on the mic, which was incredible enough. What do you think? You think Tom maybe next year gets a little bit of airtime with Rogan to kind of redeem?
Clear everything up.
Yeah.
He might try. Do you think? Well, yeah, I guess Rogan probably would have him back on.
I think so, right?
He'd be like, "All right, let's see what he's got to say now."
Because Tom
you
is.
don't.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
No, you go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
I was gonna say you don't really like see a whole bunch from like Tom as much as you used to anymore, right? He
Yeah.
just kind of been sitting on ice, like, oh man.
Yeah, they threw him aside, pretty quick. We were talking about that last night too, whether or not that was kind of planned to let Tom kind of fade into the distance. Maybe it happened a little bit bloodier than with the way they wanted it. But I think that it's hard to have someone like, could you imagine Tom DeLonge at that congressional hearing sitting there like, David Fravor saw the UFO. You know what I mean? He's like there singing. He comes in with a guitar.
Looking up, where are you?
Yeah. You can't have him come in with a backwards hat like me. You wouldn't want me sitting there at Congress with a backwards hat on, taking it serious, right?
They wouldn't let you in. I'm sure
that's true.
Dress code.
That's true. Yeah, Jesse Michaels didn't wear a backwards hat, I don't think. I think he had his hair done and everything.
Yeah.
But he got in there. He's got the cameras. He's got the big push behind him. But yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting. I can't believe Tom didn't come out this year more. And kind of be like, hey, yeah. I mean, he tweets. And I think he went on Steve-O this year, right? He was on that Steve-O podcast. He was talking.
Yeah, I think so. I actually just like watched a clip of that like a week ago.
Oh, okay.
Like, that's interesting. Because I thought when I seen the clip, I was like, so maybe now he's trying to get back out and, get back up and running. But who knows? He could just be bored right now. He's just sitting there like the GIF with the Batman pushing the wooden swing in the rain, just waiting.
Well, yeah, now that his movie's over, the movie's come and gone, and I still haven't watched that yet. Did you watch Monsters of California?
Either. No.
Yeah. I've heard so many bad things. The trailer was just mega cringe. So I just was like, I don't think I can put the time into it. Like, no one gave it a good review.
Oh, see, I didn't even read the reviews for it.
I mean, like Lou Reviews did a good one on it. Which, I mean, he's in and around film stuff, so you can always kind of take his opinion on that stuff, even though he's a little biased, on a lot of that stuff. But I still think he gives a good opinion when it comes to stuff like that. So yeah, you can check that out if you want it. He has got a pretty good episode on that. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he decides to poke his head out at this point.
It'd be like the book release for Elizondo's when he's going to show back up.
Well, maybe they come out hand in hand. they made up.
They made up.
Yeah, maybe we'll see more Stephen Greer too next year. We had him on the Twitter space with Kim.com and Ashton Forbes, the MH370 guy, and all that going on. I think Twitter itself, especially with Twitter Spaces, it opens up so much opportunity nowadays to get like collaborations, but you get these collaborations very, very easily. All they gotta do is pick up their phone and click in. Yeah, you don't need a webcam. All you need is the mic on your phone and click join, and that's it. What do you think about Twitter Spaces?
Well, yeah, I mean, you just said it. It's the simplicity of it for anybody to, to have their own panels and stuff like that and jump in other people's and talk about whatever you want, essentially. Yeah. Because I don't think a lot of people really understand like what it's like behind the scenes of like doing stuff like this. You know? And if you don't, and then you find out, you probably think that that's just how it is. So Twitter Spaces allow that clarification of like how simple it is for anybody now. And I think people are starting to catch on. They're like, cool, dude, I want to start doing something like this.
Well, yeah, I mean, all you have to do is open the space. And I think you have to pay for Twitter Blue or something like that for it. But you open the space and you would just put your tweet, hey, my space is open, hashtag it, and you just sit there.
Yep.
I mean, that's it. There's nothing else to do. There's no building the backgrounds. There's no, getting OBS ready, getting StreamYard around on your computer, getting the names set up for everybody. Like this entire process that goes on behind the scenes is just not there. But the effectiveness is still there. It's really crazy. So I don't know. I guess this is a really good segue for us because we're like 45, 46 minutes in at this point. When you look at this podcast this year, what surprised you with getting going into this and participating in this versus like the last podcast that you did? Where do you feel the differences are as far as like maybe changes of scheduling? You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
Like the scheduling is different, and I did find out now, and I think you'll probably end up agreeing that, like, I think pre-recorded might seem a little bit simpler than going live. And also, I think you just have more room for error and to fix it if you do like pre-recorded, because that's all that we ever did on our old podcast, and it was simple. And it also there wasn't a set schedule. It was like whenever you were free, come do it. And some days we would do more than just one pre-record episode. That way, if we didn't want to do it, whatever, because we had like a weekly release date, but if we didn't want to do it that time, we had something in the bank and upload, if that makes sense. I like worded that like super
Well,
weird.
yeah. I
But
mean, if you didn't have the time that week or you had something else you wanted to do
correct.
on top
Yeah.
of it, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely different. I mean, I really wanted the show to be like you guys had more of a free flow thing going on where
Yeah.
it was just a
totally
different
open.
show. Yeah, it was a totally different show. So like you can't really compare the two where
Mm-mm.
we have a format. You know what I mean? We're trying to be every week UFOs, and we started originally wanting to add like I wanted more gaming and MMA into it at the end of the show. But I kind of just realized that maybe we can start separate channels for stuff like that. You know, that maybe keeping one channel very specific, people will just enjoy that more. And it doesn't kill me to not have it that way. So I'm not going to change the logo. I know the logo's different up top. You know, right now it's just the UFO and the Santa hat, and that's never going to change. But I think down the road, you're right. Pre-recording is something that that's our goal. I guess we can kind of talk about that right now. Like that's what we plan on doing next year is moving away from live, not completely. I mean, there'll still be moments I'm sure where we're going to want to go live. Like if we have Rich on again or Alien Addict or stuff like that, those guys love to go live and we can trust that they're going to show on time and things like that. So we'll still have some live shows. And if we just feel like going live, we'll go live.
Yeah.
But with everyone's situation, next year is going to get even busier for me again. Obviously, you extremely busy, things going on with, your health, you're working on that. And so trying to stick to like a certain time of day and day of the week, it's really, really difficult. And I think it would just be easier for us to have the majority of the shows go pre-recorded, and we'll just premiere them. And the reality of it is we'll still I'll just sit and chat when they're going. I'll watch and we'll go along. So we'll still have that kind of experience. It's not like we're going to be ghosts. But I think it'll just be easier. And I think the content it has an opportunity to be better. I don't know if it will 100% yet. I'm not sold. I got to figure out what's going on with that. I got to see how that's really all going to work out, but that's there. Also, Twitter Spaces, we were just talking about that. That's a possibility too next year. We're thinking about digging into Twitter a little bit more. Now, I'll be honest, I'm a little nervous to do that. There's a lot of bullshit that's going on with Twitter. However, I think if we can maybe do some joint spaces with that's not smoking weed. I mean, I'm sure people will have some joints, but you know what I'm saying? But I think if we can do some joint spaces like with Alien Attic, if Rich wants to do a joint space, that would be cool, or anybody. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. We could maybe control it a little bit better and keep some of the riffraff out. And what I mean by riffraff is like just complete drama talk. We just want to talk about UFOs. We want to have that same podcast vibe. We're talking about aliens. We're not talking about who Doc's to, and I don't know this guy, and he stole my picture. Dude, they can have, there's room for everybody. They can have their thing with that whole thing. But yeah, we might dabble into that. So there'll be some reason. So if you want to follow our Twitters, they're in the description below, French and I. And just so you can stay up on all that if we decide to do a Twitter, because we might just do a Twitter space one week and not a show.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good possibility.
Because I believe you can record those Twitter spaces and you might be able to record them and then just upload those later. So that's a possibility
Mm.
going forward. I mean, are you cool with that, French? Are you cool with the
Yeah.
idea of checking out Twitter spaces a bit more?
Oh, absolutely. The only thing is like if it does allow you to record and then re-upload them, I'm pretty sure you would like have to pay for that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So,
I mean, like I said,
which
if
I'm
it's
curious what it would be.
for sure, I'm interested in checking it out. But we'll have to see how it goes because it gets wild out there. I do want to give a little bit of a preview as well for next year of these guys. Now these guests are not confirmed, but these are kind of where our heads are right now, guys. So you get a little bit of understanding where it's going. That's another reason for pre-records, especially with guests that we don't know. I mean, look at what happened this year with Grant Cameron. You know, we had the show set up. There was a time discrepancy that happened. He didn't show. I mean, we got him back. He was great and gracious enough to come back, but that sucked. I mean, that was
Right.
really, really terrible to me because I felt like I let everybody down. You know, like I make this thumbnail. It's Grant Cameron, this huge person, and then we just fall flat, and everybody's like, "Oh, what are you trying to, boost your views on that guy?" Like, fuck no, man. Like, I'm trying to bring this shit, this interesting
Yeah.
stuff. So
That's what I mean by like there's more room for error for sure.
correct. Yes, correct. So I want to have Michael Schratt come on, and I want him to break down all of the UFO crashes, the crash retrieval programs. He has this incredible document and this whole presentation put together that he goes through everything. I mean, you just wind him up, let him go. And dude, it is so interesting. I don't think I've ever watched the whole thing in full. Have you ever seen it all in full yet, French? The whole thing?
Mm-mm. And
Okay.
I think it's just because like something else ended up happening and I just like had to go do something else.
Yeah. Yeah, so I haven't. I've seen pieces of it on multiple different channels, but I want him to come here and do it for us, man, because it's really cool. And I just want to learn more and more about crash retrievals. There's going to be systems or retrievals that I've missed, stories that I've missed, not
Oh,
systems.
for sure.
Yeah, so he's a big one. The only thing with him, man, is I have to figure out how we're going to be able to get him in and show his presentation and then allow you to be able to see him and hear him too and everything. So we might have to tap into StreamYard a little bit to make that work. And if we do, we do. I'll make the sacrifice to be able to get him in. We'll drop a little bit of money if we can. I definitely want to have Jeremy Rise on, alien scientist. He's super interesting. He's like the conspiracy guy right now. He's obviously already really popular. Everybody knows him. But when you watch his show and he just starts pulling up tab after tab on Google, all the conspiracies, links it all, dude, I would love to have him come on and go over the conspiracies and just let him run free. That would be awesome. And then, of course, if you don't know already, we tried to get Stephen Greenstreet earlier this year, and that did not pan out. So I'm gonna give another attempt to Greenstreet. However, before I go for a second attempt with him, I do want to try and cross my fingers here. I do want to talk to John Greenwald really bad, really, really, really bad. I want to get him in to talk about FOIA for sure, and then just his overall take of the current state of ufology when it comes to things like Twitter, because he's on Twitter, man. He understands it inside and out, I feel like. So I really want to get him in. And then there's one guest that probably no one here knows. French didn't even know. But
Yeah, I
there's
didn't.
well, actually there's two more guests I want to talk about. But the one here is, his name is Finn McKenty. He does like metal music, pop punk music videos. But one day I seen when he was reviewing like the Spotify Wrapped list, he showed his Twitter, and on his Twitter trending was UAPs and the NDAA UAP document, or the Schumer Amendment. So I went, oh, he's a UFO guy. And I don't think I've never heard him talk about UFOs. And I'm sure he's probably doesn't have a lot of people around him that talk about UFOs. So we want to
Yeah.
invite him on as well to come on and just kind of shoot the shit. I think that'd be really cool. His videos on YouTube are awesome. And then the last one would be Dan Holfeld. As you guys see behind me, there's a sign back here. It says Talk is Cheap. Talk is Cheap was an old YouTube channel that ended, I guess, like 2 or 3 years ago, but they were really big for a while for me. I watched them all the time. They were these Canadian guys, and they had like a tremendous setup, like a studio,
Oh,
the whole
super
thing.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you remember
It
coming
almost looked
over and
like
watching, bro? Yeah.
yeah, it was almost
Yeah.
like a massive news broadcasting like setup, but not like news in the sense of like, you know, what a newscast would look like, but just like the massive desks and stuff like that. It
I
was very,
know.
very open, like camera angle, like panning them stuff. Dude, it was super cool. I to this day, I think one of the coolest like setups that I've seen.
Dude, 3 cameras at least set up. I mean, he had the screens behind him. He really, dude, they spent a lot of money and a
Oh
lot of
yeah,
time.
absolutely.
But back then, they were going to change their slogan. They had a slogan that was talk is cheap, or cheap is talk and talk is cheap. That was the slogan of the show. And I was like, and they were like, oh, we might change it. You can call in on the phone and say whether or not you want to change it. And if you want to change it, give us like a new slogan. But I called in and told them, don't change it. And I won the contest. And so you got the this metal sign from them, and they all signed it and stuff. It was really
Yeah,
cool.
super cool.
But I got to talk to Dan on the phone a couple times, and he was asking me, hey, do you want to come on like Tuesdays and do a spot and talk on the show? This was like 2016, man. And I was like, I don't know about doing that. And so I kind of bailed on that. But since he's been gone for a long time, I think it would be very, very interesting to invite him on the show and then let him see that sign and then be like, wait, you're the guy, and now you have a show.
Pull up the episode and like rewatch it.
There you go. That was, yeah. If it's when it's pre-recorded, we'll cut to that part of the episode. God,
Yeah.
Frenchie, the producer. This is why we need you. Yeah, that's a really good idea. So we want to have him on just to have him talk about UFOs and then have a cool little reconnection. And he was popular. I think they had 13 or 14K subs.
Oh yeah,
I
a
mean,
lot.
yeah, a lot of people knew them around the way. I asked Ali about them, and he was like, yeah, I remember those guys, man. So they've made an impact. And you know, once you talk about UFOs and have a show, you never really want to stop talking about it, really. You're probably always interested in coming on, having a talk about it at that point. But I'll leave it open too, for you guys in the chat and then in the comments. If you guys are watching this not live, let us know who you guys want to see for gas. Put it in there. I know somebody last week said Richard Hoagland, French. I would love to talk to Richard Hoagland. I just don't know if he's if he's spry. You know? I don't know what's going on with Richard Hoagland. So maybe I'll look into. Yeah, Michael Strapp. For sure. Yeah, Hoagland, dude. I grew up listening to him talk about the moon and the face on Mars. And dude, my favorite part about all the shows with him on Coast to Coast AM is he would go, Art, look at the data, Art. He said it, like, emphasized it so much, man. Those old shows, bro. Incredible content.
They're
man.
good.
Imagine if we could have talked to Art Bell. Wow.
Well, I don't know. Like, what would you talk about at that point in time, though, really? Would you be more interested to talk to him now with what's been going on, or back then with what's been going on?
I mean, I could go either way. But I really think it would be interesting to ask him, did you really ever think we would get this far? Legislation in Congress, hearings. I think he would say no.
He'd say, oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Fuck no.
Yeah. I mean, it would be amazing, man. I mean, there's a lot of guests, dude, that I want to talk to that unfortunately have passed away. I mean, Art Bell, absolute fucking legend. I mean, God, how many people would not even be here if it wasn't for him?
I mean,
he is the Howard Stern of ufology, dude. There's no doubt.
Yeah, I'd say probably most of them wouldn't be here.
Right. So we got him. Obviously, Stanton Friedman would have been incredible to talk to him. I just want to hear him talk about Bob Lazar, and he didn't have the grades. He was the bottom third of his class. They never would have took him. Oh man, he would have been great to talk to. And then obviously, the biggest guest of all time for me, without a doubt, John Lear, dude. I would have loved to have had an hour or two with John Lear, and you would have seen a side of me you've never seen. I would have went full woo with John, just because you have to fully lean in and have some fun with Lear. Lear, how many million people are on the moon? Tell me. I believe it. I believe it. Like, dude, oh my God. Could you imagine having John Lear come on here with like these big photos of the moon and like showing like the close up photos? And yeah, here's a refinery right here. Here's
It
some
would,
trucks oh my God.
it'd be like a crime scene investigation. It'd be like a giant like board. It'd be like
Yeah,
strings attached to these different photos and stuff.
without a doubt. Without a doubt. Yeah, man. Those are three that we'll never get, man. It's so sad. Maybe AI will allow us
Why
to talk to
not?
them. Maybe someday we'll be able to have an AI conversation. I would do that. I would take like a super advanced version of Art Bell. That we could actually talk to and answer questions. That'd be interesting.
That's I mean, what you just said is also like really interesting because what if people start doing that with AI too? So
Yeah,
instead of having like live guests, like people would start having like AI guests.
yeah,
That I think that would really open up like the spaces for ufology and stuff too.
yeah. We got Tupac and Michael Jackson coming on next week.
Be there.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah. So, I mean, do you have anybody in mind, French? Have you been looking around, or have we just been kind of nailing everybody? I mean, we have been like on a legend tour, getting everybody.
I mean, as far as like ufology goes, like, yeah, I mean, those are all pretty much like really stacked guests that would be like incredible to have on and listen to. Um,
Yeah, that's
I'd
the
like,
goal.
yeah, I like all of mine, like personally would just be like musicians, I think. And that's why it'd be cool, like in the future, like if we had like separate channels for like gaming or music,
Yeah,
that way we could still do specifically like just this. And then if stuff starts to get like stale and everything, we can't like continue on any further. We
yeah,
have that possibility to move over to like our other interests because our interests are pretty much the same for the most.
yeah. We're very
So
similar like that. Yeah.
so it's not like it'd be an issue to go and have like a branch off of like this channel to talk about stuff like that, which I think it'd be cool to like try and do the same thing, just get different guests on within that category of like topic and stuff like that. It'd be really cool.
Well, you bring up a good point with the musicians, though. There's a lot of musicians out there that have had experiences, abductees, things like that. Excuse me, I got a burp. Live show. What are you gonna do?
Lemon pepper wings.
Yeah, what would be crazy is I remember an old Escape the Fate interview with Ronnie Radke and Max, and they were talking about how they were driving through the Las Vegas desert in the middle of the night, and how an orb came out of the sky, came in front of their car, circled the car, and then shot off. And I mean, you want to talk about reaching for the stars. What if we were able to get Radke on here to talk about UFOs and that experience, man? Would we have
He
to be
seems like
Rogan's
somebody
level?
that would. No, I don't think so. He seems like somebody that would.
Should I hit him up? Just go for it, or what?
Just hit him up on the Twitter space.
All he can do is say no.
Right. I'm used to that my whole life, so joke's on you.
Yeah.
No, I think like specifically guests because like gaming and music also like go really hand in hand, like gaming soundtracks and stuff. And you can agree with me,
Yeah.
Jeremy, I can't pronounce his last name, Saul or Soul, who does like
Oh
the
yeah.
scoring and stuff for
Right.
like Oblivion and Skyrim. That would be a very cool guest to have on it and talk about like just his writing processes and if he even is a gamer, because it's always interesting to me that people write these soundtracks for games and like they don't play games. It's like it's weird. And they end up being like incredible soundtracks. Mick Gordon would be another super cool one, like the Doom soundtrack and stuff. Just stuff like that would be really cool.
I'm sure Jeremy Soul's got a level 5 mage on Skyrim, right? At least level 5.
Necromancer.
He's a necromancer, yeah. Yeah, so like we have obviously like big plans for the channel. And I'm sure there's probably going to be people out there that are a little disappointed that we're moving from live shows all the time. But hey, the show at the end of the day, guys, I've said this like in earlier episodes, it was never really meant to be live. It was more meant to be pre-recorded. That was the goal. But with the way things started, it was just so much easier to do live, and it is easier in some respects. It's the schedule part that's the pain in the ass. But I don't think that the moving of the file to my Mac computer just to upload it is really that much more difficult to save us a lot of headache and make it easier on everyone. Because I think especially with French, when you're here, because like today, you're full of energy, you're ready to go, you love this time frame. This is when we get the best out of you, man. And the best out of you is really, really good for the channel. And so I want to support that. And so I think that's where the channel can get better from doing pre-record. So I think the content's going to get better, man. I don't think it's going to feel like some big drop off or something like that. But
Well, you have like, so here's the thing with like pre-recorded though too, is because I used to do, the syncing of like the audio and footage and stuff for when I did it with the dude I used to work with, and you taught me how to do that, and that's super simple. So that essentially could take a heap off of your plate if you didn't want to do it. If we did go to pre-recorded, I could just use Adobe Premiere. I remember how to use and everything, do all that stuff for you. But then on top of that, like I think content would will or would be better because you have more time to go through and do different editing and stuff like that, and like
yeah,
inserts of like different clips and
yes,
stuff like
yes,
that. And so it's like
yes,
there's you can pack more without spending less, essentially,
yeah.
in my head.
Yeah, I mean always here to support you guys. Thank you, Nick, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely. We
it's
appreciate you.
both ways, brother.
Yep.
It's like I told you behind the scenes, man. Anytime you want us to come on and do a live show with you, any if you were saying, hey, man, jump in with us, I'm always down, brother.
100%.
You know, that's a good point in time, I guess, to switch over to kind of the thank yous, and we're gonna go maybe an hour 20 probably by the end of this thing.
That's fine.
Our typical time. We're not doing 2 hours, nothing today. We got some stuff. Obviously, it's the holidays. People want to do. I have to go to the store today, and I have to get food because over the next couple of days. I mean, until Christmas. I mean, there's not going to be any food. Like, I gotta go get stuff. My kitchen's a mess. God, if you guys could, if I took the cam out to the kitchen, you'd say this guy's a slob. Okay. It's terrible out there. I went to go in and rinse out a coffee cup, and an arm came out of the sink to try to grab me.
It had 3 fingers too.
Yeah. Shit, you got barely 3. You're holding up right there.
I know.
God almighty. But yeah, look, this is kind of the time where it's Christmas, and we're all about being thankful. And boy, French, have we not had a lot of support this year from people in this community?
A lot, yeah. And like consistent support too, which is like even like greater. It's like, wow.
Incredible. Yeah. I mean, I've got a list, which you know the danger and the pitfall of doing the list, because you leave somebody out and they're like, this mother, I helped you and I did this. But so I got to start off by quoting, and I did this our last week, Conor McGregor's quote, if you say you're a self-made man, you're not giving somebody credit. And I think that's definitely true. And to kind of go down the list and give a good thank you to everybody, we got to start with Alien Addict. I mean, I've been going on there almost every Friday for months, and the support Ali gave, putting our channel on his channel, and making it a feature, and obviously Nick being there and coming on our show. I know Nick's got his own show, and I don't mean to lump him in with Alien Addict. I want to keep that separate, but at the same time, I can't talk about that without putting Nick in there as well, because Nick is such a big part of Alien Addict, in my opinion. He brings really, really great. Well, I know you're in here, and I'm talking third person to you, but you bring a whole lot of support for our channel when you come on our channel, and when you're there to talk, and you bring good thoughts out of us, and it brings up great conversation, and that's the stuff that people really enjoy, and that's the kind of things that sends people to your channel. And it's been a really big deal. So massive thank yous to not only Alien Addict themselves, Ali, Lee, Dave, Hidden. We'll get to Hidden more at the end too, but he's on there too. I want to put everybody in that boat because I see him there all the time. It's kind of weird to separate them.
Welcome to the show. How are you?
Yeah, welcome to the show. And you've always been so cool, dude, in the comments. He's always been nice. Give us 5 stars, dude. It's so cool. Like, you spend time on doing this stuff and like putting shows together, and you see people enjoy it. You realize, oh, okay, it's worth the time. And that's why I want to keep pushing to get better guests and more, and keep kind of going up. So Alien Addict, Cosmic Twilight, Their links are all in this description. Everyone that I'm going to mention in this, all their YouTube channels are in there. So if you're watching the VOD, or if you're here right now and you hear somebody you've never heard of, please go to their channels and subscribe, turn the bell on, all the YouTube tropes, everything that will go along with that. Please do. These people have been extremely kind to us, and I just really want to make that a point of appreciation on that. Obviously, Richie, Goof On. I mean, it's hard to kind of put them in an order. It's not really an order of importance, but Rich is like a big reason why we have the channel, bro. Like massive. I mean, when I first started doing panel shows, where was it? It was on Goof On. And Rich has always been hella supportive. He was our first guest that we had on. And I can't thank him enough for coming. And I know that there's been a little bit of distance lately between our channel and his. And I mean, we know why. It's cool. There's no drama. There's no nothing. But yeah, I mean, so I just want to thank Rich, immensely for coming on. He was a big reason for our subscriber boost that we've had at the very, very start. So you got to tip your hat to Goof On, and obviously his link is down there as well. And he goes every day. Can you believe it, man? Every day.
That's what I was gonna say. It's like that's for like what he does. It's kind of incredible. Like it's almost like untouchable to sit there and do what he does every day. And for the most part, he just kind of goes about his business and does it, and he does it without harming other people and stuff like that. And that's what's really cool. And as a first guest too, an incredible first guest that we had.
Yeah. I mean, that interview was so good. If you guys haven't seen it yet, go back and watch the first interview. Well, the interview we did with Rich, with Goof On. Yeah, he's interesting, man. And I like the side of Rich that we got for that interview. We got a bit more of the down to earth side. I mean, because he's funny, bro. He'll make you laugh like crazy, but he has that side to where he's not a clown. He has a serious side that you also want to pay attention to. And so yeah, so much. Thank you, Rich, for being so fucking cool to us, dude. We really appreciate it. Obviously Manny, Area 503, the Who's Lou man himself. Dude, that interview was incredibly fun. I'm so thankful that he took the time and came on and talked to us, because I really wanted to talk to him. He was a Mount Rushmore person for this channel. His Lou Reviews documentary really changed my mind on Lou and kind of showed me where things were going with that. And so I think 20 years down the road, if not sooner, people are going to turn back to that interview, or not the interview, but the documentary, Who's Lou? Yeah. And he's going to get hella props for being right about a lot of it. So for him to take, 2 hours time and sit down with a small channel like us, yeah, dude, it's unbelievably supportive, and we really appreciate it. Manny's, of course, his channel is down below. Grant Cameron, dude, I grew up listening to him for years and years and years. If you want consciousness conversation, if you want the woo, he's your man. He will not let you down on entertainment for that.
Nope.
So yeah, I mean, incredible conversation with him. I would have loved to get him to speculate a little bit more with us, but
yeah.
I get it. He's kind of set in his ways, and he's got his beliefs, and he's not really interested.
He was on a roll too, like when we had him on. So it's like, because we were talking, like there were more questions that we wanted to ask, but then it was like, I'm just gonna let you go, because it was just sitting there listening to him and stuff like that. It was just incredible. It's like, no, I'm not gonna interfere or mess with your flow. Just go.
Yeah, no, I tried to get a little question every once in a while, but he would like answer it, but then he was like right off on his own thing again. He would kind of disregard it. So no, I mean, it's incredible to be able to talk to him. I didn't think we'd get him on. Can you imagine? Well, I'll go into that in a minute here, but yeah, thank you so much, Grant. If you somehow are watching it, you find time for terrestrial material again.
Right.
Very much appreciated. Obviously, his link is below. Stephen Bassett, dude, an all-time fucking name in this field. If you know anything about ufology, you know who he is. You've heard him. you've yelled at him for being too optimistic, but you've also took a lot of hope, you know, from him, and he's got obviously so much experience. The first ever, you know, ufology lobbyist ever of all time. I mean, the guy's, you know, kind of etched in stone at this point. So for him to get on and give us a really, really good show and you know, break down what he thinks is going on, it's incredible. If you would have told me 4 or almost 5 months ago at this point, French, that when I started the channel in July, that in 4.5, 5 months, we'd be on Alien Addict just about every week, and that we'd have talked to Stephen Bassett, Grant Cameron, Manny, dude, I'd have said, how? Sure, buddy. Like, whatever. But no, it's been crazy. So it's been like a rocket ship, I've felt. What do you think?
Oh, 100%. I mean, we started this as just like a project just to kind of like bullshit with each other.
I know.
And like just with no intentions really, I mean, to have guests in the beginning. And then like a couple episodes later, you were like, man, I want to start like talking to these people and stuff like that. Because I think it was when we were both on Alien Addict and we were like, man, this is fun, like having a bunch of people come together. So yeah, I think we've been very lucky with who we've had contact with and who's been guests on the show and everything. And yeah, I never would have thought, that's for sure.
Yeah.
You're just supposed to be like bums in a garage, just like talking about random, you know.
We're always going to be bums in a garage, bro. We're always going to be there.
The bums always lose, Lebowski.
Welcome to the show says some fantastic host. Sure, some drama, but I've brought together thousands of people and created friendships. You know, welcome. You're bringing up a point that I should probably speak on. So, at the start of this channel, I knew that the people that I wanted to talk to and the channels that I wanted to move around from place to place, it was going to be hard to do that and avoid either pissing people off, whether that's the show host, whether that's viewers. I knew what I was walking into, but I want to talk to these people so bad, and I had to just kind of put that aside, put the fear of that aside, and just say, hey, look, I'm a new guy here. I don't have anything to do with any of this stuff. I can't carry the crosses and the burdens of previous war, of previous bloodshed. Because if I do that, I might as well close my show. Because then I can't be myself. And there's no point. What would be the point? But I think as time has went on, and when you look back at the guests that we've had, and you look at just the ultimate spread. I mean, we had Manny on, and we had Stephen Bassett and Grant Cameron. I mean, these are people with beliefs that are completely on both different ends of the spectrum.
Right.
And when we did Grant Cameron, especially Grant, I knew that there'd probably be some people that would go, what's going on? You know, this is this woo side. You're supposed to not believe in all this kind of stuff. And it's, you know, you're on this side. But I've said this from the start. We need the channel to have multiple perspectives, because French needs, everyone needs multiple we all need multiple perspectives to avoid the echo chamber. So when you look at our channel, we're always going to do that. We're going to have people with different beliefs, but we're also going to have conversation and guests that they don't like each other for whatever reason. You want to go down that road. But as you've noticed, this is the first time I've ever addressed really any of this, because it doesn't have really a part on our channel. But I think as we're going through all these guests and as we get to some of the next few, you're going to see that there's so many difference of opinions and there's so much potential heat there. And I just kind of wanted to walk through walls, man. And I was going to risk going through the fire and risk having someone on, and then having another person on, and then that original person looking back and saying, you know, hey, I'm not talking to you anymore because you talked to this person. I went for it, man. And I think we've done pretty good so far. I think people have been fair. So. Yeah, I think people have been fair. I've been surprised a little bit. I expected to get a lot more heat, and I haven't yet. But maybe that's because we're not, you know, really big yet. But And Welcome's like, damn, I opened up a big part of the show here. I made this real serious. But no, you bring up a really good point, and the timing on that's really incredible because I want to talk to everybody. I'm going to talk to everybody that I can that I want to speak to. I got to be me, guys. So if you're offended by certain things, I mean, I can't help you. But what I will always commit to for sure is trying to bring new content as much as that we can, and then bringing guests that are interesting and returning guests. Obviously, I mean, I'd love to have Rich come back. My God, I mean, could you imagine?
Yeah, absolutely,
dude. It's gonna be a blast. So yeah, I wanted to get that out of the way. So just understand that I'm not playing sides on any of the stuff, guys. I know the sides are there. I'm not stupid. I know. But
well, I'm just kidding.
Well, I am stupid. I'm stupid for trying it. But look, I can't. I won't be able to speak to anybody. You know, it's hard to find two people that are friends in this community. So it's like,
honestly, yeah,
it'd be impossible, and I can't do the show I want. So much love to everybody, man. I hope everybody can kind of over time heal wounds, and we can all come back together on a lot of it, because there's a lot of strength in strong shows that could be had if we could all kind of come together more. So a lot of cool content. When you want to talk about creating some viewership and creating some fun shows, imagine Alien Addict, Rich,
all of them,
Cambion, Lou Reviews, Alien Scientist, Terrestrial Material, everybody, Hidden Underbelly, all these people jumping on, and all of us having a good conversation about where we think the topic's going, all the different opinions, and we were just all respectful, you know? Dude, I mean, mega shows. I mean, I hope one day we can make something like that happen. I'm not going to be Jesus. I ain't going to be able to fix any problems. I'm not trying to be Jesus. I'm just simply saying, you know, I hope one day we can all settle our differences. But now off of that tangent, well, I mean, in a similar vein,
not really,
yeah, True Seekers, Stephen Cambion, he's had open panels. He invited us to come on, and we went on there. I had a really good conversation with him and Lou Reviews. It was kind of 2v1, you know, because I'm still thinking there's something there, and they're kind of, you know, going the other way. But it was fun. It's fun conversation. It's banter that is friendly, and you know, everyone's just trying to get down to the truth. And so, and you know, obviously Lou Reviews gave us a little shout out on his show, which was very cool, and can be in the same way. So all of that stuff is very, very much appreciated. Alien Scientist, Jeremy Rise, he's come on a couple of times on Alien Addict when I was there, and you know, he mentioned, when I mentioned the Stephen Bassett interview, he was like, hey, you know, I'm looking forward to watching that. Hey, the guy's got a following. That's cool for him to even say that. He doesn't have to say that. I want to say thank you to him, which that video with Stephen Bassett is one of our best viewed videos. So
right,
yeah, I mean, credit where it's due. I'm sure he brought a lot of people over for that. And then finally, well, not finally, but Alien Girl 111, she's been super nice, dude. She was I was in her chat the other morning, and she was like, hey, you know, you guys got a great show going, and you're getting good guests. And then she, you know, messaged me on Twitter later and was like, hey, you know, there's these guest opportunities. And so we had a nice kind of conversation. So all of these people's links, once again, are in the description. Please go check out their channels. But she's super, super nice, dude. Very kind. And she doesn't have to be. Who are we?
Right, that's the thing. Because, like, yeah. I promise you, most people choose not to be nice to me. And I'm a nice guy, which I get it. I just look like a dirtbag sometimes.
So, yeah, big shout out to her, man. She's sweeter than ever. And then I wanted to end with Hidden Underbelly. He unfortunately had a really bad situation with the weather. It took his roof off of his house. So in the description is his channel. I believe there's a way to go and donate to him and give him some support. The guy doesn't have a roof on his place anymore. He said it was raining in his house. I mean, you know, that's terrible. And so we wanted to make sure that any kind of support. He's been very nice to us. We had that show where we were going over all the different UFO sightings. Excellent gent, as they say. Any kind of support you can. It's the holidays, guys. So any kind of support you can show for him, that would be incredible. And then obviously, you know, when we look back throughout the chat, Jeff Garvey, you've been here all the time, Jeff. welcome to the show. Rage Against the Machine. We see him from time to time. Nick C has had wonderful things to say in the chat. John Stokes, we see you coming in and out. And then obviously, I think one of our number one like viewer supporters ever is Sapphire Elf. I know that he's been a part of some drama and stuff, but I can't say a bad word. He's always been nice to me. So he's always been very gracious to the channel. He's shared our links. So to Sapphire, hey, Merry Christmas, brother. I appreciate the support, of course. And damn, this is a love fest here at the end, though.
'Tis the season, man.
Yeah, but it's warranted, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I just don't want to leave any stone unturned with anyone that's been nice, man, because it's so hard out here in this world of like creating content, if you want to say that, or however you want to describe it, especially YouTube.
And then this type of topic too.
Yeah. So 1 million thank yous to everyone we spoke about there. And if I'm missing somebody, hey, I'm sorry. I'm human. I'm a terrestrial. Okay.
Allegedly,
yeah. Maybe I'm CIA. I'm a plant. No, God, no. Trust me, they can get a lot smarter people than me. But yeah, that's about gonna wrap it up. I mean, we're at an hour and 27, hour and 30 minutes. We really hit that mark today. French, what about you? Well, did you want to any kind of final thoughts? Anything you want to leave it on before we wrap it up?
I mean, your host skills are impeccable. I think you pretty much covered it. Just
I'm trying.
Again, yeah. I mean, to anybody, even if you're somebody who hasn't ever been here for one of our live shows and been in chat, even if you like, if you leave comments and stuff like that, we appreciate you. Because again, you don't have to watch us. We know that we're nobody, but this is fun for us, and we hope it, affects a lot of people in a very positive way, and influences people to kind of get out there and open their mind up and discover whatever truth you want.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, it's all about making sure that we can get our thoughts out there. People can enjoy that and give another middle ground approach. I mean, there's a lot of channels, even ones that we haven't listed. There's tons of channels that are out there that'll give you one end of the spectrum or the other, which obviously, watch what you want to watch. I mean, if you find it entertaining, find it entertaining. But if you really want to get to the truth, I say watch multiple channels, man. Get as much information as you can. It's going to overload your brain. You're going to ask a lot of questions. But I think that you'll find yourself closer to the truth than ever if you're able to do that. So,
and if we're on your list of like many channels that you watch, again, thank you so much.
Yeah, incredible. Yeah, I mean, I didn't even think we'd get up to how many subs we have. I think we're 207, 208, something like that, dude. I just didn't think we'd have as much success as we've had. So, and it's small success. Trust me, it's small. But I mean, when we started, we have 30 views on like our early stuff, if that. You know, 400 or 500 view shows, dude, in a couple of months. So, yeah, I'm truly thankful. But we won't keep you guys the rest of the time. Remember, this is Terrestrial Material. Please do like, share, subscribe the channel. We have a lot of really cool ideas for next year, as we've already went over. And please do, once again, go to the description. Look at all these channels that have been gracious and cool to us. Please do the same on those channels if you don't know them. They are wonderful people as well. So I'll leave you with that. Frenchie, it's time to go play Trials of Osiris, man. I gotta get some groceries, and we'll have the rest of the night. So have a wonderful Christmas, everybody.
Yep. Happy Christmas, everyone.
Yeah, happy Christmas from Terrestrial Material. See you guys next time.
See ya.